Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. We're going to do another video talking about Silicon Valley, talking about BuzzFeed, talking about digital media. And she's going to sit this one out, guys, but she will be back later tonight or tomorrow. I guarantee it. So let's talk about this. I've got this parked on the page on Clownfish TV for a video we did a couple of days ago, 3 days ago. Silicon Valley Bank collapses, digital media is doomed. Right? Well, fast forward to last night. BuzzFeed says most of its cash and cash equivalents were held at SVB Bank. Whoops. And this is a couple of days after BuzzFeed CEO urges digital media entrepreneurs to find and ride the wave that's forming. To the unemployment line, maybe? I don't know. And now we've got today, BuzzFeed forecasts a dire revenue implosion in Q1. And BuzzFeed posts a $106.2 million quarterly loss over impairment charge, and BuzzFeed stock back under $1. So things are not going very well for BuzzFeed. Things have not been going well for BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed is not a sustainable media news outlet. It's all smoke and mirrors, guys. And if BuzzFeed falls, and I think it's very possible that BuzzFeed could collapse and the brand would get sold for dirt cheap to some other company. If they collapse, that is going to set off a domino effect that's going to trigger people to just nope out of all of these digital media companies, the Voxes and the Vices and the Geo Medias and all these other companies that are paying out more than they're bringing in. And they are. BuzzFeed was never sustainable. It was being propped up by venture capital. And actually what is most shocking to me, and we're going to talk about how they have most of their cash in SVB, is how little money they had in SVB. They said most of its cash was in SVB, and that was $56 million. This is a company that was supposed to be valued at like billions of dollars or something, and they had 56 million bucks in the bank. Yeah, they're not doing well, guys. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. And tech news as it intersects with pop culture, and BuzzFeed is definitely one of those companies that intersects with pop culture. And we talk a lot about digital media because digital media has really been beating the drum against fandoms for a long time now, doing the bidding of corporations like Disney, I think. And the reason I think we're starting, partially the reason we're starting to see a lot of these outlets seemingly change their tune in the last few months is because the money's running out. Outrage isn't driving eyeballs to the websites anymore. If anything, it's actually driving people away. We've seen a lot of gaming journos get laid off. We're going to see a lot of geek journos get laid off because they are literally the least important writers for a lot of these outlets. A lot of these, like Vox and Vice, they have their own game sites. Polygon is owned by one of them. I forget off the top of my head which one it is, whatever. And they will probably just roll gaming news into a tab on a main site, kind of like Gizmodo has done, and then eventually wind that down as well because they're going to go with whatever brings the views. And gaming news, gaming hot takes is not bringing the news. BuzzFeed's listicles are not bringing the news. We did a video on Facebook and how Facebook is failing big time, and they're laying off 10,000 more people. And BuzzFeed depended heavily on Facebook. They actually said in one of their earnings calls, I think it was last year, they said they depended heavily on Facebook to drive traffic to BuzzFeed and that it wasn't working as well as it used to. Now, Facebook apparently announced a deal that they were going to be doing more AI-generated content with BuzzFeed. And I'm like, that is like Kmart and Sears getting together. That is not going to work out very well for them, I don't think. But let's talk about this. So yeah, just a couple of days after Jonah Peretti, ever the optimist, said that that digital media entrepreneurs need to find and ride the wave that's forming. Find and ride the wave that's forming. The wave looks like it's definitely going to suck them into the undertow here. BuzzFeed said most of its cash was in SVB. So Monday, most of its cash and cash equivalents were held in Silicon Valley Bank, which was shut down last week. Now, apparently there's going to be a bailout, Apparently, people are going to still have access to their money, but it's definitely thrown a wrench into things, and it's going to make people think twice about investing in companies like BuzzFeed. The digital media firm said it had about $56 million in cash and cash equivalents at the end of 2022. Again, that's not a lot of, that is most of their money. In comparison, Roku had like $500 million, and that was just a quarter of their cash. So BuzzFeed in totality has $56 million in cash at the end of 2022. It might be less than that now. They probably burned through a whole bunch of it. Startup-focused lender SVB Financial Group last week became the largest bank to fail since the 2008 financial crisis, sending shockwaves throughout the global financial system and prompting regulators to step in to contain the fallout. Shares in BuzzFeed were down 8.6% at $1.17. They're under $1 now. The company, which has been grappling with a tough advertising market amid concerns over a slowing economy, also reported a 27% decline in ad revenue to $50.5 million in the quarter ended December 31st. They've only got $56 million in cash in the bank. It expects first quarter overall revenue in the range of 61 to 67 million. BuzzFeed, we're going to get there. That's not the case. BuzzFeed reported revenue of 91.6 million for the same period last year. Okay. BuzzFeed now forecasts a dire revenue implosion in Q1. So this is later in the day after it was announced that most of their money was in SVB. BuzzFeed posts a $106.2 million quarterly loss over impairment charge. The digital media company saw advertising and content revenue fall as total revenue dropped 8% to $134.6 million, and a steep non-cash goodwill impairment charge was recorded. BuzzFeed swung to a fourth quarter loss on reduced overall revenue. This is Q4. This is their Q4 earnings, right? Digital media company BuzzFeed swung to a fourth quarter loss on reduced overall revenue and non-cash goodwill impairment charge. Their Q1 is not going to be that good. I can tell you again, as somebody who operates multiple websites and has run ads on websites for probably 15 plus years now, the ad rates right now, the banner ad rates right now, the rates that BuzzFeed depends on are the worst they've been that I can ever remember, ever. Like I'm talking even worse than 2008. For whatever that's worth. And we are definitely a mom and pop compared to BuzzFeed. But if it's bad for us, it's bad for everybody. BuzzFeed brought in $134.6 million in overall revenue during the fourth quarter. The digital media company ended the quarter with $106 million in net losses compared to a year earlier profit of $41.5 million. During the latest quarter, BuzzFeed posted a non-cash goodwill impairment, blah, blah, blah. Content accounted for $54.7 million of the company's revenue, down 9% year over year, while advertising fell 27% during the latest quarter, and commerce revenue brought in $29.3 million during the fourth quarter, up 76% year over year. Commerce revenue, that would be Tasty products and dildos. They actually have BuzzFeed vibrators. I'm not kidding. We've done videos about that. BuzzFeed said time spent by users during the fourth quarter fell 27%. People are not spending as much time on their website. People are actually going outside. Now that we're allowed to go outside again, people are going outside. Even if they're going onto the internet, even if they're going to sites like BuzzFeed, they're not spending all damn day there, right? As of March 10th, the majority of the company's cash and cash equivalents were held at Silicon Valley Bank. However, in a joint statement released by the U.S. Department of the Treasury, Federal Reserve, and the FDIC, the U.S. government reassured all depositors will be fully protected. Why do I feel like Vice is going to wind up doing a documentary about BuzzFeed imploding? I don't know. It feels like there's something's going on here. The company is accessing its funds and does not currently anticipate any disruption, they said. Stock in BuzzFeed fell 13 cents to $1.15. It's way under that now. It's 95 cents. It's under $1 again. They're done, guys. There's no denying 2022 was a tough year for digital media. It's going to be worse. It's going to be so much worse. You have no idea. But ride that wave. Ride that wave. The challenges we faced in Q4 are also impacting us in Q1. And it's clear that we have more work to do to realize the full potential of our combined brand portfolio. There is no potential. It's over. BuzzFeed, just freaking pack it in. It's over. Peretti discussed BuzzFeed's ongoing pivot to short-form video content aimed at social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, which individuals can do. Again, a lot of BuzzFeed's commerce is actually Amazon affiliate revenue, and individuals can do that. I don't understand what BuzzFeed is. You're a website that makes content for other social media platforms. Basically you're just doing whatever you can do to try to make money, I think. They said it remains a drag on overall revenue into 2023. It takes time to ramp monetization of newer content formats, he told investors. Apparently these investors are very fucking dumb. TikTok is horrible for monetization. So is Instagram. It's basically the money, you get paid money out of like some big fund they have, and they've been pulling back on that. And YouTube monetization is actually relatively easy, and BuzzFeed is well monetized because they've had a lot of series, right? They've had series on BuzzFeed before. Was it Try Guys and some other stuff? They know the deal. They know the deal. They're just bullshitting the investors. The investors are stupid. The BuzzFeed CEO also said the company would begin using OpenAI for content creation this year to replace its writers and not have to pay anybody for freelance. To kick off initially with quiz content generated for users, a game format that allows machine learning generated advice to be given to those seeking to be internet influencers, and AI used to generate animated video characters. What? We view AI as an exciting new creativity tool, one that humans can harness to open up new avenues for imagination and storytelling. Again, how fucking stupid does he think the investors are? No, you're pivoting to AI because you don't want to pay your writers because you're running out of money to pay your writers. But you can't say that, because if you say that, everybody's going to sell off their shitty 95-cent BuzzFeed stock. BuzzFeed has had its share of layoffs, having recently announced it will eliminate 12% of its workforce. They're done. This company's done. They're going to get sold for next to nothing, just like all these other digital media outlets, and the dominoes are all going to fall down. And look, remember back in the day when you started a company, like if you started selling oranges out of your Model T truck, right, by the side of the road, and then you worked your way up, and then you had an orange store, and then you had, then you hired your first employee, and then, within 10 or 20 years, you were making orange juice and you were putting Donald Duck on the label, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way a business is supposed to be run is you start small, you get good at being sustainable, and then you grow as you can afford to grow. None of these companies, these digital media companies, these social media companies, wanted to pay their dues. They wanted to take a shortcut. They all wanted to take a shortcut. They wanted to be this big conglomerate, right out of the gate, and a lot of them did. They blew all kinds of venture capital. Like, we're going to start right out of the gate. We're going to hire a whole bunch of people at 6 figures, and we're going to get these fancy offices, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, spend all this money on advertising, and here we are. Our money's just wasted, just burnt. BuzzFeed's a joke. It's going to be gone. Again, it might not be gone completely. Somebody might buy the brand, but hell, even Yahoo's still kind of around, kind of, sort of. MySpace is still kind of, sort of around. It doesn't mean they're worth anything. It doesn't mean that their name has any value, but there it is. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.